Overwatch won Game of the Year in 2016, and almost 10 years later, there are still hundreds of thousands of people enjoying the game every week. Many things can be attributed to the game's success, but in my opinion, the biggest factor is the characters. One of the most viral things I remember about Overwatch was the animated shorts, giving the rich history of many of the heroes in the game. However, many of you are still unaware of pretty much any information about the vast majority of heroes in the game. So in this video, I will give you one lore fact about every hero in Overwatch. In an Overwatch mission against Talon, Ana was shot through her scope and her eye by Widowmaker. However, this was not even her real eye. Ana received a cybernetic eye during her time with the Egyptian army prior to joining Overwatch. Although she survived, she decided to not inform Jack Morrison or even her daughter that she was still alive. Ashe was a problem child shaped by her parents' neglect. Despite what you might think, Ashe grew up privileged and wealthy. Her sidekick Bob was the family's butler. She had multiple incidents that came to a head when she was attacked by two boys who envied her parents' wealth. She acted in self-defense, but was incarcerated where she met Jesse McCree. Her parents bailed her out and said that they would cut her off when she turned 18. This made her turn to a life of crime and eventually would form the Deadlock Gang with Jesse. Baptiste grew up an orphan due to the Omnic crisis. He decided to join the army because he didn't have many other options. He was driven by a desire to help people, becoming a field medic. After the war, he struggled to find any work and joined Talon for some quick and easy money, being unaware of the extent of their actions. His missions increasingly became more violent. He wanted out, but without anyone joining him, he knew death would be the only thing he received. After a mission in Monte Cristi, he came face to face with a young girl who stared at him, seeing him as only what he had become, a soldier destroying her home. This was too much for him, and he ran off never to see Talon again. Bastion is named after Bastion robot units, once peacekeepers who became the main fighting force during the Omnic crisis. Turned peaceful after reactivation, Bastion ended up in Sweden, scaring the townspeople. Torbjorn observed his peaceful nature and offered Bastion a home, giving him repairs and removing much of the wartime code still in his system. Brigitte is not the daughter of Reinhardt, but is the daughter of Torbjorn, and unlike him, is pretty tall. This misconception is due to the fact that Reinhardt and Brigitte travel together and hang out often as she is the squire to his knight. She served as his mechanic during their journeys, but eventually made armor of her own to fight alongside him. Cole Cassidy, or McCree, was recruited to Blackwatch, a covert operations division of Overwatch led by Gabriel Reyes, aka Reaper. He was given a choice to either stay in jail or fight for them, so he chose the latter. Blackwatch conducted a mission in Rialto that went bad. After confronting their target, instead of just capturing him, Reyes shot him. This outraged Cassidy as Reyes went against the plan. Cole is charismatic and befriended many people, including Ana, Pharah, and Echo, making Echo laugh for the first time. Known as a villain, Doomfist believes that the world is unjust, and in order to strengthen humanity, there has to be conflict. In his mind, the ends justify the means, and the death of people is for the greater good. He was eventually defeated by Winston. In captivity, he spoke to Gabriel Reyes, asking him if he was making a difference as part of Overwatch. Reyes could not answer, and Doomfist was responsible for creating the doubts that would end up with his transformation into Reaper. Hannah Song, also known as Diva, was a professional gamer turned military pilot. She is known for a happy tone in the game, but what you may not know is the tragedy to her story. She was conscripted to defend her home against invaders, and the pressure to keep the city safe and the consequences of any mistakes weighed on her. In a mission gone wrong, she sustained a broken arm and leg with more injuries. The South Korean government lied about the extent to her injuries, and her superstar persona is ultimately just a facade. Echo was created as an artificial intelligence project to aid Overwatch in their endeavors. Because of the Omnic crisis, there were many restrictions to AI development and research. Unbeknownst to her supervisors, the scientists gave Echo a powerful observation-based artificial intelligence which gave her sentience. When the scientist was killed, the project was abandoned and Echo was put to sleep until recall. The newest hero in Overwatch, this is an editor's note, When I say the newest hero in Overwatch, I mean that she is the newest character added to the game, not that she is the most recent to join the group. Freja studied criminology and joined Overwatch after a brief enlistment in the Danish Armed Forces. In her time, Freja climbed her way up the ladder and eventually became head of the SAR, or Search and Rescue branch. After Overwatch was disbanded, Freja took on small jobs to try and help the community with her skill set. Over time, her morality faded, becoming more interested in the search than the rescue, and is one of the most notorious bounty hunters in the world. Genji was born into a crime family known as the Symmetra clan. He did not care for their activities and took on a more free lifestyle enabled by their immense wealth. Clan members demanded he participate, and when he refused, he was injured to the brink of death by his brother Hanzo. Reyes approached him with an offer to join Blackwatch, and with the other option being seemingly death, he accepted. His body was then rebuilt by Angela Ziegler as he joined Blackwatch, with the mission being to take down the Symmetra clan. Hanzo was the oldest son of his father Sojourn, and therefore from a young age was bred to be the successor of the Symmetra clan. This responsibility weighed on him and resulted in his fight with Genji. After this event, Hanzo became disillusioned with the clan and left. Years after, Hanzo returned to Tokyo and was attacked by a new clan, the Hashimoto. He was about to be executed when Kiriko, a childhood friend of him and Genji, saved him. Hazard had a rough childhood, having to essentially fend for himself, with his mother dying when he was 4 and his father being distant. He was poor and seeked the military, not out of obligation, but out of financial need for his university. During an Overwatch and Talon fight, he was severely injured, needing 3 amputations. The government did little to assist him before he found the Freaks, yes, that is their actual name, who gave him cybernetic prosthetics. Illari's future was foretold to her as an Inti warrior. She began training from a young age and excelled, becoming the youngest person to join. The Inti tradition is called solar threading, where they give the warrior the ability to control solar energy. Illari's ceremony went horribly wrong, and there was an explosion, destroying the Inti warriors, and she was left destitute and alone. JQ grew up in Junkrat, but her family was cast out when she was a child. She fought to survive in the wasteland, with her mission to take part in the Reckoning, the process Junkrat uses to determine its leader. She defeated the man who banished her family, and became the new head of the town. Junker Queen hates Omnics, sporting various pieces of them on her outfit. Junkrat also hates Omnics. Australia was nearly destroyed, and leadership was given to the Omnics in a small area to try and maintain peace. This led to a resistance force attacking and destroying a power source called the Omnian Fusion Core. The radiation affected the surrounding area and is part of what makes Junkrat so crazy. Juno was actually born on Mars. She was part of something called Project Red Promise, a secret scientific proposal to make Mars habitable for humans. Because of their terraforming project, the colony was quickly becoming in danger. They compiled the resources available and chose to send Juno back to Earth, as she did not choose to be there. Juno left to find May, a climatologist who worked with her mom, with the goal to save her family and the team of scientists on the planet. It's hard to talk about Kiriko because her story is pretty nonsensical. She is stated to be 21, which conflicts with any art they have made showing her with Hanzo and Genji, who appear to be at the oldest teenagers when they should be in their mid-20s. Not to mention, her overall backstory consistently contains contradictions between her trailer and hero page. That being said, Kiriko's father was abducted by the Hashimoto clan, who took power in the vacuum created by the collapse of the Symmetra clan. When she grew up, using her powers gained from her grandmother, she would fight against them. She would go on to save Hanzo, but would always resent him because him leaving the Symmetra clan is what created the void for the Hashimoto to take power in the first place. Lifeweaver was born into an extremely wealthy family. He is pansexual and has a deep respect for nature. He was childhood friends with Symmetra, and when he got older, he realized not everywhere was as nice as his world of wealth. This created his mission to heal the world. Oh no. Lucio grew up in Rio de Janeiro, in a place suffering from the effects of the Omnic crisis. Eventually, the Vishkar Corporation would come to help the area, but ended up just exploiting the people there. He took some tech from his father, invented for the corporation, and became an icon for social change. This led to his music gaining in popularity, making him a worldwide superstar. Mauga grew up with a rebel group known as the Deep Sea Raiders. After a battle, Mauga was severely wounded and received emergency heart surgery, giving him a cybernetic heart to pair with his damaged normal one. He continued to augment himself, which required constant maintenance, making him always near death but extremely powerful. May, a climatologist, was a part of Overwatch's initiative to discover the source of unexplained climate changes. They set up Eco Point Antarctica, which fell victim to a snowstorm that left the team stranded there. With the supplies dwindling, they all entered cryo chambers. She awoke 9 years later to discover Overwatch shut down and all her fellow colleagues dead. She managed to escape despite the rundown conditions and continue her research. Mercy's real identity is Dr. Angela Ziegler. As a child, she lost both of her parents to an airstrike when they were volunteering at a hospital. This caused deep, unhealing emotional pain for her that she used as motivation to help as many people as possible. Although there was no healing the emotional void in herself, she could heal the exterior pain of others. Eventually, she was contacted by Overwatch, specifically Jack Morrison, to be the head of the Overwatch medical research team. She was hesitant, but understood this put her in a position to do the most good for the world. Angela was in constant conflict about her position. This was because she disagreed with Overwatch's militaristic approach because of her background, but despite that ended up becoming the field medic for the team, donning the persona Mercy. During her time, she was constantly worried about how her technology might be used for harm. Once it disbanded, she tried to distance herself from it. Moira was recruited by Blackwatch for her genetics research. Many members of Blackwatch and Overwatch had a disdain for her, as she seemed to have no concerns about the well-being of other people in the pursuit of scientific gain. She also gave Gabriel Reyes the ability to manipulate his body matter. Orisa is a OR-15 robot that was repaired and customized by Ify Oladili, created with the purpose to stop Doomfist. Upon her activation, Orisa made many mistakes in her community work. This led Ify to remove her compassion module. One day, Orisa saw a student dressed up as Doomfist and opened fire, injuring him. After this, Orisa was deactivated. Once reactivated, she was assigned as an usher at Lucio's concert. When Talon attacked, Lucio and Orisa were able to protect everybody from them, but Doomfist got away. Pharah, or Freja, is the daughter of Ana. She grew up constantly around the Overwatch group. She met Winston, Mercy, and McCree. Her dream was to join the group, and she trained relentlessly. When she was 14, she had an intense argument with Ana to join the group. She dropped it after that. After her mother's supposed death, she enlisted for the Egyptian army and then worked for Helix Security International. Because of the fight years earlier with her mom, she was hesitant to join the group with the recall, but eventually came around. You may think of Ramattra as evil, and that isn't wrong, but what you may not know is that he started as a monk. After being one of the last Ravager survivors from the Omnic crisis, he went to Nepal and there met Zenyatta. He actually influenced Zenyatta to become a monk. He wanted Omnics to be able to coexist with humanity, but became disillusioned with the means Zenyatta and his fellow monks had, and left. He then started Null Sector, an Omnic liberation force that would eventually launch a global assault. Reaper, or Gabriel Reyes, I have referred to multiple times in this video. In many ways, he is the connective tissue of most of the events in Overwatch. He was the commander of the Blackwatch team, formed of many questionable individuals given opportunities when they had no others. The controversies from him and his team, combined with a mutiny of him against Jack Morrison, ended Overwatch. Him and Morrison got into an altercation, resulting in an explosion nearly ending his life. Moira found him on his deathbed and filled him with experimental chemicals that kept him alive, but permanently altered him both mentally and physically. Reinhardt was the 4th member to join the Overwatch team after his work as a Crusader. He was one of the team's best, constantly refusing promotions to continue his work. After the Omnic crisis, Overwatch became more regulated. In a mission, a terrorist called Hivemind attempted to gather security data. The team was ordered to wait for negotiations, but when Hivemind started executing hostages, Reinhardt and the team went in and saved the remaining 47 people, but Hivemind got away. However, the world's militaries were upset about the data being stolen due to, as they saw it, him disobeying orders. They demanded action, and Morrison told Reinhardt he was being forced to retire to satisfy these demands, with the official reason being his age. It may be hard to believe, but Roadhog was once a normal person named Mako Rutledge. After the Omnics were given a region that he lived in, he and other infuriated residents formed the Australian Liberation Front. They attacked the Omnium fusion core, which exploded and made the area into an atomic wasteland. This devastation changed Mako, as he became more quiet and his humanity was forgotten. He donned the mask to help filter out the radiated environment, and the gas he inhales is also to counteract that radiation. Jack Morrison, or Soldier 76, enlisted in the army as soon as he could. By the time the Omnic crisis began, he was already a sergeant and applied for the Soldier Enhancement Program. With Gabriel Reyes, they both survived and were seen as the only success stories of the program, becoming super soldiers. They became friends, and Morrison's personality made him the fitting face of the Overwatch program. He recruited many members himself and brought out the best in people. After a fight with Reyes, he was left almost dead and jaded. Sigma was a brilliant astrophysicist who believed harnessing gravity was the key to understanding the universe. After an experiment gone wrong, he became crazy and gravity around him fluctuated. He was kept in an underground facility, being seen as a danger to society, never to see the outside world again. Talon found out about his existence and broke him out, using him and his research for their benefit. Vivian Chase was born with an autoimmune disease that made her constantly sick and in hospitals. This made it so she could not have a normal childhood. When she was 13, she needed to have life-saving cybernetic replacements, including her spine, heart, lungs, and most of her bones. Because of this, she was treated poorly in school by other classmates being intrusive and mean, with one even saying that she couldn't love because she had a cybernetic heart. She was able to come out of it fine though, getting voluntary cybernetic enhancements from the military and eventually joining Overwatch as Sojourn. Sombra is a hacker who one day stumbled upon a global conspiracy. The details of it are unknown, but her mission is to get to the bottom of it. She joined Talon but is far from loyal to the group. There she met and became friends with Baptiste, and despite knowing his location while he was on the run, she did not disclose this information to Talon. She also intentionally sabotaged a mission to get an in with the powerful Russian CEO, Kataya Volskaya. Symmetra was born into deep poverty, but was lifted out of it due to her rare potential to become a light-bending architect, someone who can manipulate hard light technology with precision. She is on the autism spectrum and struggles with social interactions, including things like understanding metaphors, experiencing sensory overload, and being rigid in routines. Despite this, she's highly talented and capable. She went to school with Lifeweaver and also met Zenyatta during a mission for the Vishkar Corporation. Torbjorn grew up a gifted engineer. He graduated university and began working in a lab. Many complications arose from his mistrust of AI. He spoke out against it, arguing that despite the failsafes created, advanced robots were dangerous. This led him to retire to a more private life. His fears turned out to be well-founded, and because of his mistrust, he never allowed a Omnic in his home, sparing him and his family from the overthrow. He also had a turret defense system to protect his home, which he was eventually recruited to build to help defend all of Sweden. His time with Bastion ended up softening his stance years later. Tracer, or Lena Oxton, joined the RAF in her teens. Because of her exceptional ability, she was recruited to the Overwatch experimental flight program. Her job was to test a prototype called the Slipstream, which was able to teleport. The tech malfunctioned and vanished with no sign of Lena or the ship. She reappeared months later, but was essentially a ghost. She suffered from chronal disassociation, making her unable to maintain a physical form. This was her existence for 2 years before Winston was assigned to the case and developed a chronal accelerator, which kept Tracer in the present. This also gave her the ability to speed up and slow down her own time. Venture is trans and non-binary and goes by they/them pronouns. Venture is an archaeologist and a member of the Wayfinder Society. They encountered Talon destroying a ruin site to try and find an artifact, and Venture defended the site. This put Talon on their radar, and they would eventually go on to find a previously stolen artifact and return it. Widowmaker was once Amelia Gilliard. She married Gerard Lacroix, I don't know how to say that, it's Lacroix to me, who worked as an Overwatch agent. Talon made multiple attempts on his life, but were unsuccessful. Talon then devised a new plan. They kidnapped Amelia and subjected her to, quote, neural reconditioning, and I'm sure you can imagine what that might entail. She was found and deemed no worse for wear by physicians before she assassinated her husband. She became addicted to the feeling of killing and joined Talon as an assassin. Because Winston initiated the Overwatch recall, this can cause the misconception he created the group. He did not, and joined after many other members like Ana, Morrison, and Reyes. Winston found a family in Overwatch, one he didn't have before due to him growing up on the moon. After an attack from Talon, he sent out the recall to try and reform the group. After a year, it appeared unsuccessful, resulting in 3 members, including him, Tracer, and May. After Null Sector attacked Paris, Genji, Reinhardt, Brigitte, Echo, and Mercy would join. He named himself de facto head of the group. Hammond, like Winston, grew up on Horizon Lunar Colony. He was experimented on, and the experience for him was much different than for Winston. For months he endured painful experiments before finally gaining intelligence and self-awareness. He saw the hamsters that were once his family ignore him now that he was different, and watched as they were taken away for experiments and never returned. He befriended Winston and made the rocket plans to escape, but Winston began to exit without him. He tethered on with a makeshift pod, but got disconnected and landed in the outskirts of Junkrat town. Zarya was a bodybuilder turned soldier for the Russian army. She got news of an attack on her hometown, and waiting for her was Cole Cassidy. She rejected his help, but in a dire situation he stepped in, together defeating the Omnic attack. He offered her to join Overwatch, and she accepted. Baptiste and Pharah joined the pair, and after helping in Busan, so did Diva. After arriving at the Watchpoint Gibraltar base, she found the gym and began working out. She noticed the timid May wanting to train but was intimidated, and helped her lift. Zarya previously held some animosity towards the group because of the history between them and the RDF, but found Overwatch was full of agents that she called hopeful children and not the tyrants she expected. After the crisis, Zenyatta was recruited by Ramattra into the Shambali. They became best friends. Ramattra left, but Zenyatta stayed. There he would also meet Genji and became his mentor. Zenyatta taught Genji how to become at peace with his new cybernetic reality. After mentoring him, Zenyatta saw limitations of the Shambali and went on his own path. He decided that to heal Omnics and humans, it required interpersonal connections. Zenyatta wandered the world, searching for people to help find inner peace. And there you go, that is one lore fact about every hero in Overwatch. I hope that you gained some information that you didn't know before about your favorite hero or just all the heroes in general. If you want to see more content from me on Overwatch in the future, subscribe, like the video, and share with a friend. The feedback will show me there is an audience for this. I've been playing the game since 2016, which is almost 10 years at this point, so I would be more than happy to make videos about it. I have been Dalton, and thank you for watching.